love cooking, so I'm excited about this, but I've never really been successful with doing an herb garden.
Well, herbs are really easy to grow. You just need a few things. You need plenty of light. You have to have good drainage and intermediate soil. It doesn't have to be the best of soil, but they also do great in containers. And there's nothing like going out to your garden and cutting some sprigs of herbs.
Sure.
You know, and then instead of using the dry, or you go to the grocery store, you have to buy them in the packs. You can go right into your own yard.
Yeah, this would be really handy. Now, we had made like a cedar planter that was kind of lined up. Is that a good way to get started, or what's the easiest way to get going?
Probably the easiest way is to do like a regular big pot, you know, but you don't want a small teeny pot because people think that and then they dry out so fast. So you want something, doesn't have to be massive, but something that's probably 18 inches wide, maybe by 12 inches high. Start off that way, and then it becomes addictive because they start doing really well. So I brought some samples of herbs in, and here's the great thing about herbs is they're great to repel bugs and mosquitoes. So anything that has a lemon flavor is really good. So there's like lemon balm and lemon verbena. Those are all wonderful to add to your garden. And then I love using mints. And so this one is really cool. This is apple mint.
Apple mint. Can I smell that?
Yeah.
I want to smell it. Very fragrant, right? Oh,
and it has a big, this is orange.
I want to smell this one too. That's a great thing about herbs. Like
so, and I mean, and so you can do this like in maybe some whiskey cocktails. You know what I'm saying? And then there's pineapple mint, and we have chocolate mint, we have strawberry mint. So there's lots of different mints. And this one's variegated. It's not only a great herb, but I use it as a ground cover because you know mint is pretty aggressive. So just be careful. If you don't like that, then you want to grow it in a container. And then there's sage, which I like to use sage a lot. And here's the thing about sage. It will get like 24 inches tall by 24 inches wide. And it's a beautiful blooming plant in the garden.
Okay, so when you're plucking these away, how do you do this to where you're not like killing the plant?
Because that's a good question. So that's why if you use a lot of, let's say, rosemary or something, well, remember, plants produce food by foliage, and if you keep cutting off the foliage, they're going to starve themselves. So the only way to do that is to grow several of plants, the ones you use the most. Like basil. I use basil all the time, so I'll do 4 or 5 plants of basil and such.
Well, it's time to start putting some vegetables in the ground. If you haven't done so already, Chris H. Olsen is here to give us some great advice and information on how to make that vegetable garden grow.
Well, you know, there's a few things. The first thing, you got to start off with the foundation, which means you have to have good soil. And the most important thing with growing veggies is you got to have great drainage. Because if they sit in heavy clay soil, they usually will stunt the growth, or they'll go ahead and just rot. And then the next thing to remember is sun. They are sun-loving plants. That doesn't have to be 100% all day, but at least 5 hours of sunshine is going to produce great veggies for you, and they're going to ripen really nice and sweet. And another good thing is plant selection.
So I was going to ask, what is the most difficult to plant, do you think?
The most difficult veggie, well, probably when you're doing it by seeds.
And you know, somebody's like personal garden, not like somebody, like a big farmer, but when you're doing your own little garden.
Honestly, almost all veggies are so easy to grow. They really are. But there's a couple little secrets. The number one veggie that people buy is the tomato. And I have a secret for you how you grow tomatoes, because sometimes when you plant it like this, you know, it gets really loppy and falls over. You wouldn't know probably, because I don't know if you grew tomatoes before.
He grew up on a farm.
He knows. He knows.
I choose not to do it as an adult because I was tortured as a child.
And that's why there's farmers market.
That's right.
Anyhow, so this is what you do. So you take your tomato out, you take your tag off, or you can leave it. You plant it like this. Well, I go ahead and I pluck off all the bottom leaves, and I plant it like this in the hole with that up. And this roots out underground, giving it a much stronger stem, so it's going to be more viable and stronger when it comes to winds and such, and produces a great plant.
Have you ever seen that, Adam?
No, but I've seen them planted upside down.
You can do that with a tomato. It's amazing. Yes.
Really?
So that is the secret for me to keep keeping strong stem tomatoes because they get real loppy.
Yeah, but we always
such.
just put a little stick next to them, and
You can do that, or like this one comes already in a
We've
pot
done
with
this
a cage.
too. And you can just set
ready
this
to
on your
go.
porch.
Yes,
I like
yes.
that.
You know, it's probably better to put this in a bigger container. But anyways, if you don't have the space for it, this is perfect. Now, another thing to remember about veggies is insect control and maintenance.
That's the problem with our tomatoes. You know, in the past, right when they start getting about time to pick, then something.
Yeah, so there's organic ways to do it. Like this is citronella. It smells really good. And anything lemon scent, like lemon verbena and all that, does lemongrass is wonderful. Marigolds are great. And then there's also different chemicals out there that can be organic, or they will say on the label used for vegetables, and they're safe because the sunlight breaks whatever's in that chemical down, and that's why it's more edible. And then I always add some fertilizer, like some Osmocote, which is slow release when I plant them, and then I do like a Miracle-Gro vegetable fertilizer on an ongoing basis, and you will have so much veggies. Your neighbors are going to love you because you're going to give them away. You're going to bring them to work. Just like that.
Yeah.
Squash and zucchini is my favorite.
Is that your favorite?
Oh my gosh.
Peppers
I love
are my
zucchini.
favorite.
Really?
I
And those
do.
are, you can grow those like this too.
Yeah, they come in little cages too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I wish
great.
I could have a garden and somebody just take care of it for me.
Just do some of these little things.
I've tried.
This is a big boy
I've-
tomato.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
I've
that's
never
why-
had good luck with them, but
Well, you live next to a neighbor who gardens, and I guarantee they're always going to have extra produce. And then this is great. This is a combo salad bowl.
You just pick it off and make
Pick it up. We already ate it today.
Did you bring the ranch dressing? Adam?
oh, yeah. And what is this?
Well, I brought some strawberries, even though you can consider it to be a fruit. But I add strawberries in my veggie garden as a ground cover. I actually use strawberries as ornamental ground covers in my landscape designs because it looks green, but you also get the functional fruit that you can eat from it.
Look at this. Chris H. Olsen sells these. This is seed pop. You plant it in the ground, and this is strawberry?
Yeah.
And then this one is carrots.
And you just turn them upside down, and they sprout and they grow a little garden. And I'm telling you, I have tried it. We have perennials too, and it works.
I thought that was a bonsai tree, you know, like on The Karate Kid. Is that
I
a
love
I
that
was asking
movie.
because we're talking about topiaries, but you said a bonsai tree is kind of a
Well,
topiary.
it
but
depends. If they're keeping their natural shape, then it's not going to be a topiary. But some bonsais are topiaries.
when you're trimming it like they were doing, Danielson was doing. Okay.
I remember.
Yeah, wax on, wax off.
Wax off.
All right, so what kind of tree is this?
Okay,
then?
so this is a mint julep, a juniper, which was trained to be a multi-fingered,
It was trained.
topiary. It was trained. You know, I love topiaries. Why? Because not only are they elegant, and a lot of times we think of topiaries for formal houses, but this and such can be very cool in a contemporary home as well. And there's all different varieties of topiaries. The most popular, of course, are the boxwoods.
Right.
Because they have small leaves and they're easier to cut, so you don't have these big cut leaves in half.
And this is a pyramid.
Isn't that
shape.
beautiful? Look at that. It's a pyramid, so instead of being just cone shape, you can do this. Has 4 flat sides.
Does
and
it take
such.
a lot of time and
Well,
you know,
it's
just to
kind
keep
of
this
like
up?
the Karate Kid. You know when he said you have
need
to
patience.
you have to envision it in your mind and then go from there. Same thing, and it's kind of cool. I cut with a scissor.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Just a
kind
little
of
trim.
just a little
What are you
bit of
looking at
a
over
trim.
here?
I'm looking at the,
Oh,
the
okay.
camera shot. It's beautiful.
But see, this actually relaxes you. So the thing about topiaries is you do have to keep them trimmed.
Right.
Now, and you can trim them real tight or loosen them up and let them get a little bit bigger over time or such.
My
That's what
problem
happened
is
with
I
me.
trim too much. Then I take a step back and I'm like, well, there's no plant left.
Well, you got to
I
be
get a little
careful, and then they
excited.
can be lopsided and stuff. And you got to stand back, take a look, and go ahead and trim up. Now,
So
this
you had
one,
to train this one.
This one had to be trained. This originally was just a regular holly. This is colony
So
holly.
it would be
it's just
leaves
natural,
everywhere.
and then you limb it up, keep the 2 sections, and sometimes they come 3 spheres, and then you just start trimming them. This takes about 3 or 4 years to get to this.
Right.
This is why they're not
3 to
cheap
4
in the
years.
nursery,
Oh.
because they have to sit.
Well,
And so you've
be
got to keep
trained.
this up. You've got to keep trimming
Yeah,
it. Kind
but-
of looks like a poodle.
It's a poodle.
Yeah.
I got the colonnade. I got a 3-sphered one at my house on both sides of my front steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks so elegant.
Well, and they always have a jolly Christmas.
And yes, they do. Yes, they do. And this one's really cool. The
Do you get
spiral.
it, Ashley?
No,
Sorry.
this
No,
is so
it's a
cool.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry.
So wait, it doesn't just come like this, Adam. Did you know that?
Oh no, yeah, right. You have to trim. You trim. What's this called?
That's another colonnade holly, just different.
I really like
but
this.
It's spiral. Now, here's the thing about spiral, junipers or hollies or whatever, boxwoods, is people get them and they think they stay that shape. They will eventually become a natural shaped bush if you do not trim them. So you have to trim these about 4 or 5 times during the growing season, and so otherwise you're going to lose the shape on them.
Yeah, that looks really good. So.
And then this one over here is a green mountain boxwood, one of my favorite. Really small leaf. It's related to the English boxwood. See how tall it is?
I do.
It's thin and tall, so it adds vertical emphasis like a front door and containers or such. And they can be in the ground as well, not just pots.
Okay, you just answered the question I was going to ask. So you can have these in containers. I could do this. I like it elevated on this table.
Yeah.
If I'm having to get down,
No.
Well, yeah,
You're
that's
kinda
true
tall.
because you're starting low. You know,
That's
and
why you
trim
put
it
your
up.
kids to work.
Well, this is a perfect
right.
thing for kids.
Yeah.
Great, and it is fun and such. And sometimes, if they start to loosen up a little bit, I'll take fishing line, or I will go ahead and take my green wire, and I will tie it and loop it and make it tighter.
is that right?
Okay.
And then you
I
trim
never-
lightly. You don't want to cut the wire, and eventually it grows out of the wire, but always keeps its shape. Well, a lot of us, we're going to start being outside. We're going to start entertaining, and we want to, prevent the insects. And I'm not one to spray myself because, especially with off and stuff like that, because it is a chemical.
But
Right.
Yeah, and maybe it's safe, but I just don't do it.
Right.
But anyways, and then we get those citronella candles that we buy at, Home Depot and such, and they work, but they smoke a lot. So if you're eating, you have that smoke in your face, and also they smell so much, it's hard to taste your food. So I'm going to do it a natural way that you can keep not only mosquitoes but other insects away. First thing is making floral arrangements and place them like on the table.
Let me
That
see.
won't deter your taste when you're eating.
Okay, so what's in this?
So this is right from my garden. So I have fresh mint.
All right.
And then I also added some rosemary. I also added in there some variegated oregano, which really deters mosquitoes. And this, let me tell you, can you tell what this is? Go ahead and rub on it a little bit. What do
Oh,
you
that
think?
smells so
Now
good.
this is
It
citronella.
smells like citronella.
That-
So
yeah.
this is, and citronella
But it smells
is,
better than the candle.
well, it does,
Because
because
it's
this is the
natural.
real deal. And here's what's great about citronella. It's a geranium. Most people don't know that, and that's all it is. And you can buy it right now, plant it in your garden, and it grows like a weed. Cut this up and use it as well. So that's one way you can start to turn insects a good way. And I added a few little flowers from the
That
garden.
looks so cute,
just
too.
to add it nice.
How
That is
much of
so
this would it
cute.
take though to be effective? I mean,
I smelled it as soon as we walked up.
Yeah, you can,
Sure.
yeah, I have this in my car. You can really smell it.
Yeah.
So on a table, I would probably do 3 arrangements.
Okay.
And then I would probably do 3 citronella candles. And we're going to show you how to make this. So I need you to slice up more of this lime,
okay.
Adam. If you
Can I do this?
Yes.
What's happening over
I
there?
don't know, just
I
ignore
don't-
me.
and I'm going to fill this with water, so you can take any glass vase. You just got to make sure the mouth is wide enough to have a floating candle in it, which you can get like any craft store.
This is what we're going for.
Now, if it's a real windy day, you want to fill it with less water so that it protects it from the wind.
Okay.
Now we're going to add in there sprigs of rosemary.
And when you get done with this, you can put it in a soup and eat it.
We're going to add some oregano.
He's ignoring you. He's like,
I'm ignoring
I
him.
know.
We're going to add in some mint. And look how beautiful that's
That's
looking.
pretty.
Then we're going to add in lemon. Lemon is the #1 citrus that deters insects, by the way.
Well,
we're going to add
You
in
could
some
just rub
lime.
this all over your body, or you could do this.
Yep. And then here's the secret. You have to let this sit for a couple hours before you use it, because all the
So
fragrances
soak.
get into the water.
Well, how long would this last?
Oh.
Before it looks like.
Oh, a
just-
couple days.
Okay.
Easily. And then here's what you do. You get real lemon oil.
Okay.
Okay, and then you dab. You see how it floats. So then that really smell how good that is.
That's really good in a diffuser
I like
in your
that.
home
Yeah.
too.
Smell that? Yes, great.
I
Okay,
love it.
and then you just put your floating candle on it, and what happens is when you light your floating candle, it warms, and it warms the water, releases all the oils and the citrus, and that's how you get the fragrance around the table. And this will cover about 20 square feet.
Okay.
Just so you know, so you
Yeah.
can place them in just a little patio area, and it looks beautiful as well.
Yeah, so we're talking about citrus today, and it smells so good. Why would we want to plant citrus at our homes?
Well, first of all, it's fairly easy to grow. Second of all, it's just, if you love citrus, it's nothing like taking something from, we grow them in containers here. They don't grow on the ground. So fresh citrus is wonderful. It has a softer peel to it, usually a sweeter flavor to it. So it's good, and it's just fun.
This is actually pretty.
This one
is a lemon.
This is lemon. Now, there's two that are the most popular citrus to grow, and that's because they're really easy to grow, plus we use them.
Okay.
So lemon, of course, is number one. Myra lemon is the number one producer because it produces a lot of fruit and not too big. And then, of course, we got lime. But this one over here is wonderful. This is calamundan.
Okay.
And calamundan is what we call the cocktail citrus tree. This is why I like it, because it is two different type of limes, which is a scarlet lime, a golden lime, and then a Panama orange, combined together into a small fruit. And when it develops, it's orange. So when you first taste it, it's kind of like a tangy lime flavor and turns to a sweet orange flavor.
Oh, wow.
So you slice that and put in a vodka tonic or a gin and tonic.
Oh,
I'm just telling you.
It's a cocktail.
Yes.
So this is something you can grow indoors or outdoors, right?
Okay, here's the secrets to growing citrus. First of all, it's the pot. You want to put them in a good enough size pot. Like this is how they come. I would probably plant it in a pot about 5 times the size, because you're going to bring it in for the winter for years to come. Put it in full sun outside. It loves hot temperatures.
Okay.
Just keep it moist, and I fertilize with an all-purpose citrus food.
Okay.
And you can find those at any garden center. And then I go ahead and bring them in the winter before the first frost.
Right.
Now, they don't have to come inside the house. You can put them in your garage, which can be not heated because they can go down in cool temperatures, just protected from the freezes.
Gotcha.
But you gotta have a window.
Oh, okay. So they just need some sunlight. I like this. You can really see this one. It's starting to grow.
These are dwarf citrus. There's also standard citrus, which grow much larger.
Yeah.
Dwarf is going to be better because you're going to bring them in and out. Now, remember, when you put these in containers, do lightweight containers.
Oh, okay.
Because it's easier to move in.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you bring them inside, always give them plenty of light, but they like consistent watering. They like good potting soil, but they don't like too light up potting soil because they grow like on hillsides in California and poor soil. They like a little bit heavier soil. And insect-wise, they can get aphids, but the main thing that gets citrus is whiteflies. When you hit the plant, all these whiteflies go everywhere. So you're going to spray it. We use the Triple Action Plus because it's for edibles. You spray the top and the bottom.
Okay.
And periodically spray it every couple weeks to keep it clean.
Okay.
And then you can mix it with some hardy bananas, which do grow outside. You do not have to dig them up. And you'll have bananas, oranges, lemons, and limes.
Look at that. I love it. And these are pretty too. I mean, these have some blooms you can barely see. I just knocked them all off.
Yeah. And I underplant them with colorful annuals, and they usually harvest in fall.
We're talking about being outdoors and gardening, and a lot of people are doing that. Talking about spending time growing up in Clinton and being outdoors, and you were saying during COVID, a lot of people started getting outdoors, especially kids, and learning how to do all of this stuff.
Yeah, and so now everything is growing and looking beautiful. You're going to start noticing pest problems, like holes in your plants and insects. So I'm going to tell you what to do and how to do it so you can get ahead of the pests so they don't destroy your plants.
Okay.
First thing is preventive maintenance. So you always want to go ahead and spray on a routine basis about every 4 or 5 weeks to prevent insect problem if you always have it every single year and such. Okay, so let's start with the chemicals.
Okay.
There are a million different chemicals on the market. We've talked about Triple Action Plus for years, but one of my favorite insecticides is actually Liquid 7.
Okay.
Love this chemical. It's really, really good. Of course, there's organic chemicals out there and such. One little secret, what I do, instead of going through the book and trying to always look for the directions, because every time you spray, you forget how many tablespoons. I actually, you maybe can't see it, but I actually write on it 8 tablespoons per gallon.
That's smart.
So it's all done for you.
Gotcha.
Then you got the sprayer. Now, sometimes you can buy your product already in a sprayer, the chemical. You attach it to the hose and spray it.
And that comes in either one.
Either one. And then there's hose end sprayers, which are not my favorite.
Okay.
Because I think they don't mix as good, dilute it. But they are great if you have large trees and such. So a pump-up sprayer.
Okay.
This is a 2-gallon, and they can go up to 4 or 5 gallon if you want the big guys and such. Now,
I don't use it. My husband does.
Yeah, I know. You got to. And the key thing is when you're mixing chemicals. Let's say you have weed control like Roundup,
right?
And it's a concentrate you're going to mix in your sprayer. You want to write weed control or Roundup because you do not want to use the same pump-up sprayer for your insecticide.
Oh,
because
very smart.
you'll have chemical in it.
Yeah.
And then if you have insecticide, I wrote insecticide, so I always know this is for insects only.
Okay.
So once you figure out your pump, mix according to the directions, go by the directions. Don't think more is better in this case.
Oh, gotcha.
Then how do you dress up? Now, you know, this is really tricky. Chemicals are chemicals.
Right, so you need to
So I
cover
wear
up.
boots and I wear light pants, long pants, and I tuck my pants in my boots, and then I wear a long sleeve shirt.
Right.
And that way, if you happen to have drift, it's on the clothes and not your skin.
Okay.
All right, and don't spray on a windy day.
Gotcha.
Now I'm going to show you how to spray.
Okay.
We're going to take this off and we're going to put this over here. When you spray, most people, now this is
Let me put this
water,
here.
so you don't have to worry about it.
Oh,
Most
it is
people-
water. I was like,
okay, yeah, most people just spray the top, okay? Where do most insects hide?
probably down in there.
Underneath. So when you get the top and such, you want
not
to
getting
spray underneath and get the whole plant drenched. And that way you have better, you know, you'll get almost all your insects and such.
Okay.
Now remember, when you spray, I know we probably have to go, but when you spray, I always spray when the sun's going down because
Okay.
your bees, your honeybees and such, usually go in by that time, so you're not spraying the good insects.
Yes, yeah, we want to make sure we protect the bees. Okay, so make sure you spray the top, the bottom. Now you know there are different options when it comes to spraying, and don't do like me, just say, hey, I'm watering it. Isn't that good enough? I
That
feel
is
like
not
I'm
good
keeping it
enough.
alive. Yeah, so make sure that you're doing all of the things to keep those thriving. And we appreciate all of the information. Thanks for
pleasure.
coming. About every Thursday, we get to see Chris H. Olsen. If you want to see him, stop by Plantopia, North Little Rock, Botanica Gardens in Little Rock. We appreciate it.